Hi, hello, and welcome to this webinar. This is Bharani Kumar. I am a software engineer, test professional, and an educator of machine learning. I welcome you all to this webinar. I am so much eager to share the learnings what I have with this particular technology. If you are an engineering student, a graduate, maths, science, arts, or any with any background, I promise this particular technology is going to add value to your career. If you are already an engineer, a starter in machine learning, then wait for further into this webinar as we get into the webinar and know how industries are actually making use of this technology and bringing new products into the market. So I promise you by end of this webinar, you will be more clear in what is machine learning, why it is needed, and how you can actually master this technology for your career, for your life, and how you can even make money out of this by participating in various activities. So without getting late, let's get into the webinar and start the learning. Hi, welcome again and let's get started. So before continuing further, I request you three main things. Whatever thoughts that's going to come up your mind, let's keep it aside and pay your focus and attention to this webinar, and also promise that you are going to put all these learnings into action. So I hope you are all on my side and let's start the learning. So as defined, the purpose of this webinar is going to be bringing to you what is the industry relevance to this particular machine learning technology and understanding the bigger picture of what is machine learning. And also what are the languages and libraries that are primarily used for this technology. So there are multiple languages and libraries are available which we can easily make use of it and start developing applications. And also what can keep you motivated throughout the journey of learning and also in your career. So there are multiple opportunities to compete in major competitions organized by bigger organizations. Standard competitions are already conducted every now and then. It happens ongoingly throughout the year. You can win cash prizes and also convert it into career opportunities. So we're also going to see all those things about this. So the next thing, the $1 million question, why machine learning? So first you have to definitely understand this, why machine learning, when there is a lot of other things already existing like desktop applications, web applications, gaming applications. There are wide varieties of applications and tens and hundreds of different kinds of applications existing already. Then why machine learning? This is also a programming method. Obviously that you should be clear, this is also your programming method. But what this brings onto the table is using machine learning, you can improve the performance of an existing system or an application, and also you can solve problems which have been existing for a longer time and there was no way to solve it. So you need to be creative, and this particular technology is going to support innovation and creativity. So definitely wait until you completely understand the technology and how you can actually innovate and bring performance to the applications on which you are working on. So let's move on to further ahead and understand how the latest trends of applications are working. So these latest applications are going to be called as digital platforms. They are no more conventional desktop or web applications. So when we say digital platforms, there is multiple small components interacting together or within them or out of their ecosystem. Like every engineer from different parts of the world work on that application, and still it has to behave as one single application or one single entity. So take for example this particular diagram, what you can see on the screen. This is an example of a digital platform containing an IoT device. So this IoT device, you can replace it with any application on your mobile. Say for example, you replace it with your Swiggy app. So this particular application is going to be two different things. I'm going to split it into two different things. One is at the user end. What you or I as a user interact with Swiggy, the application, you make the order, you make the food order. There are two parties now who you or I as going to order the food is going to be called as the consumer. The person who is going to receive the order is going to be called as the producer. The Swiggy company is going to be called as the digital platform. So this is one side of the application. The other side of the application is what drawn here. The other side of the application involves how our data is actually being processed here, and what are the securities involved, how it is maintained, and how our data is being manipulated and made use of it to make better decisions and improve user experiences and give better offers and make the user happy as long as they have on their platform. So this is the other side of the application which you would have never thought about it. So this is kind of applications what are being developed and what every company is looking up to develop it, because there is more potential to it. There is lesser cost involved in managing the application, lesser cost involved in developing the application itself, and also more benefits in making the performance improvements. So let's go and see some of the example platforms which is already existing in different business domains. So as I said, the first thing is called, in the digital platform there are three entities. One is the platform itself, the providers, and the consumers. And now there are different types of platforms, like take for example the media or the music entertainment platform. There are a couple of examples I can quote here. One is Amazon Music, Savan, YouTube Music, and there are so many other platforms which caters to each and every individual's preferences. And there is another business domain called as collaboration. These are majorly group of applications where documents, performance, or work-related applications. So collaboration is majorly work-related applications like coding and development, uh, developing presentations with group of people contributing to the same document, and all those things can be made with help of Slack and GitHub kind of applications. And the next one is a search platform, which there is no need of any explanation: Google, Yahoo, Bing. And before going on to the next business domain, I again want to reiterate the existence of this digital platform. Just be clear what is digital platform. And as soon as we complete seeing all the business domains, we get on to how machine learning as a single technology is adding value to it. Right? So thank you for waiting over there. Now this next thing is a social media kind of applications, where Facebook, Hello, LinkedIn, Twitter, all these applications operate on similar fashion. So the next kind of digital platforms would be, there are knowledge platforms where Byju's, Khan Academy, and there are hundreds and thousands of other knowledge-based domains exist. And e-commerce platforms, well, there is no need of any introduction for e-commerce platforms. Amazon, Flipkart, Mitra are some to mention. And the marketplaces, Play Store, the mobile digital marketplace called the Android Play Store, Apple Play Store also existing there. And the next is the latest and evolving business of providing users with computing and hardwares over the service, like Azure from Microsoft, AWS from Amazon, IBM, and Google Cloud are few to mention, where you can rent computers over the internet. You can rent your computers, rent network devices, rent for storage spaces. You can host your websites, and you can do many more things through these services. The next comes the service exchange platforms like Uber, Zomato, Swiggy. These are miscellaneous services what the digital platforms provide, and they cater to specific domains. The final thing, what with having seen all these different kinds of business domains, what happens is there are multiple domains. But what happens in the digital platform actually is a digital platform works by integrating multiple technologies. It has technologies like web programming, like big data processing, big data analysis, data science, machine learning, AI kind of algorithms. All these things work together to form the digital platform. A digital platform cannot work without these technologies. So it is very much important to understand each and every role and component that is present in a digital platform. And more so importantly, since the objective of this webinar is machine learning, let's understand how this particular technology is contributing to this ecosystem. So before going further, there is a simple explanation given by Stanford University on machine learning. It is simply stated the science of getting computers to act without being explicitly programmed. That is what they are calling it as machine learning. So to put it in our own words or in my words, I will take you through a sample diagram, or I will take you to the drawing board where I will explain you in simple terms what machine learning is. There are going to be three different classes of learning which is called as machine learning. So the first one is called as supervised learning, second is unsupervised learning, and third is reinforcement learning. To delve deeper into these three things, let me show you a simple example of a diagrammatic explanation. So I will divide this into two different segments. So give me a second, just give me a second before I could draw what I intend to draw it. Yes, got it. So now there are going to be two different explanations based on this one single diagram. Let's focus on this particular sorry, I couldn't get it right the first time, so here we go. The first part of the diagram, this I'm going to call it as this I'm going to make use of to give the examples for supervised learning. So ignore for the second part as of now, let's focus on here. Provided if I'm going to give you three different baskets of fruits, one is the apple, grape and orange, and make sure this is the first time you are hearing this is the fruit and this is the fruit name. You put your knowledge aside and just pay attention that there are three different categories of fruits and I'm giving you a name along with it. Once I teach you, this is the step called as teaching or training. Once I'm going to teach you and train, there are three different baskets and three different kinds of fruits. I'm going to ask you a question. What is this fruit called as? Obviously, you will be able to come up with the answer. This is called as apple. And if I'm going to give you or show you the second example, what is this fruit called as? You will be able to tell it as orange. And likewise, the third one, if I'm going to show this and ask you what is this called as, you will be able to tell this is called as grape. So what I just did is I have given you a set of data which is labeled. Label by meaning I am telling you these are apples, these are grapes, and these are oranges. And after a while, after completing the process of training, when I ask you with questions independently, you are able to answer this. This is exactly called as supervised learning. And just you need to learn how this is being used in data across different businesses, which we will be giving you, which I will be taking you through different kinds of business domains and what data are being applied, as well as there are what languages, programming languages and technologies that you can use to achieve the same result. So I hope this is quite clear what is supervised learning I have meant here. Now comes to the second part of learning called as unsupervised learning. So here, now forget about the knowledge what I have taught here. This is a different example altogether. I have provided you a basket of fruits and I have not taught you, there is nothing taught here what fruits are given to you, just fruits. And now when I want to group different fruits separately, I just give all this input to an algorithm which is going to come up with different kinds of fruits. And now just ignore the algorithm part, pretend you haven't heard that word. Now having given this particular basket of fruits to you, when I ask you to separate different fruits, You will be able to separate fruits that look alike, right? So I hope you will be able to separate fruits of all these three categories. Never mind, my diagram is pretty awesome, so ignore this, but just pay attention to this question. If I'm going to ask you to separate and group things together, you would have definitely grouped fruits looking similar to this, fruits looking similar to this, and fruits looking similar to this. But if I'm going to ask you a name, probably you will not be able to name it rightly. But what you will say is, I am able to identify three different groups of fruits. You will say, this is group 1, this is group 2, and this is group 3. This is exactly called as grouping things together, or a more so technical name, it is called as clustering. And why this particular technique is called as clustering is we have obviously grouped things together and clustered items, similar items together. And this class of action is called as unsupervised learning. The reason it is unsupervised because we have not anything to it in difference to the method 1, where we taught exactly what we are giving and we are asking in another instance what we taught to it. So this is the marked difference between first category of learning called as supervised and unsupervised learning. I hope this would have got you clear before going to the next topic, right? So we just completed two different classes of learning. One is called as supervised learning and the second is called as unsupervised learning. Now get to the category of learning called as reinforcement learning. So what is reinforcement learning? I would say is these are a, these are a class of algorithms exactly like how human beings would behave. If I'm going to put you into an no man's land, you are imagine this particular square box is the no man's land where you are given with a car and you are asked to navigate from position A to position B. So here the positions are marked as, if you take a closer look at it, there will be four different positions at the four different corners. That is R, Y, G, and B. So R, Y, G, B are four different boxes. If I'm going to ask you to go pick someone at one corner and drop them at this other corner, you will be able to do it with much more ease. You will not hit against the wall or hit against other vehicles, but you'll be able to do it much more comfortably than a computer system. The task or art of teaching the same thing to a computer is called as reinforcement learning. We are going to teach a computer to take the different paths and identify the best path or the best possible solution to navigate from one position to another position is an exact or an apt example for a reinforcement learning. So this reinforcement learning is picking up faster and solving more and more problems in real world. So even there are latest news trending like uh, this reinforcement learning application has bet a player in chess. There are so many examples or so many proven examples existing already. They were able to develop applications which has bet a human being, which has beat a human being in a game, in an intellectual game. And there is one more example I want to quote for reinforcement learning. So this particular image is called as a cart pole. So what is cart pole is a single moving object with a connected and a vertical pole connected to that particular cart. So this is a cart, something like a bullock cart, where there is only one single wheel, and instead of a wheel, there is a horizontal, I could say, stick. So as the vehicle moves by, the stick needs to balance itself without falling down. Do you think it is possible to balance the stick without falling down to either of the sides when it is connected at one single joint only? Definitely, it's not an easy task to maintain the balance automatically. So this is where Reinforcement learning comes into picture and keeps this tick balanced throughout the time in which this particular program runs. It learns to apply balance so that it is able to stand vertically. So this process of learning the balance to start vertically is going to be called the cardboard balancing system. This is one of the basic examples of reinforcement learning which you can go through online and learn further as well, because this is not the objective of the current webinar. So let's get and move further into the presentation what we have in store. So give me a second. Yeah, got it. So just we completed these three different kinds of learning called as supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. We also saw different examples on a drawing board. You would have now got a grasp or a basic idea about three different types of learnings. Now, after seeing all these learnings, let's see some practical examples how this is actually used in industries. So this particular graphic and infographic is going to show you with 7 different industries. Let me walk you through each and every industry and what are the benefits machine learning actually brings into these industries. Let's get into the first industry of energy sector. What I mean by energy sector, how optimum and efficiently we can consume power so that the energy company gets benefited out of it, or the whole population gets benefited out of making use of energy efficiently. We can achieve this by combining IoT and AI or artificial intelligence technologies like this to drive better decisions so that we can manage power in factories, homes, or even in smart cities. The primary objective of IoT devices and building smart cities is to consume and optimize the power consumption. So this is going to give thousands and millions of dollars savings to a nation when we are able to optimize an energy consumption. So likewise, another example in the media and entertainment industry is, which you all would have already experienced it if you have been using YouTube or Savan or Amazon Music. If you have been to any of these platforms, you would have experienced it. There are better individual preferences that is already being addressed. In each and every individual tastes differ, but this machine learning is able to give you and serve a better taste of music to each and every individual. That is one part of the media and entertainment industry for customer satisfaction. The other part is providing efficient transmission of data. So this brings in compression of data and making efficient bandwidth utilization. So the first part what I mentioned is an example of content preference and suggestions. We can say that way as well. The other industries are healthcare. If you take healthcare, and especially in these times of COVID-19 pandemic, there is huge benefits what machine learning has brought about. If you're curious to know what those latest technologies, there are even a couple of startups who have come up in this time to serve the people. So there are lots of startups, innovative machine learning based startups who are providing solutions in this time. So let's wait until we complete these business domains and get into that. So already conventional applications, what machine learning has in this industry is to predict the diseases, onset of disease, how long, age group, and all those things, and improve research in terms of building better medicines, how chemicals react to each other, and how we can make use of this machine learning technology to derive the drug, or drug discovery is one such area. Automation of administration tasks, patient management system, and there are many more things which we can keep on adding. In the next industry, in the industry of manufacturing, IoT, Internet of Things, which we are going to call it as Industry 4.0, in combination with machine learning and artificial intelligence, is leading to efficient decisions in real time. When to switch on lights in a factory. So this IoT is going to drive better decisions. It is going to capture data in industry, send it to the cloud, and process all those details there to drive decisions inside industry. So this is going to cut short most of inefficient tasks. The other industries to mention are e-commerce. So there is no need of explanation for e-commerce. This is very much familiar with all of you, I hope. So this brings about, this changes shoppers' needs. Those are the times when we wouldn't shop unless we don't want. But machine learning has come up with different use cases like customer preferences and catering to what are the needs of the customers. So even if a customer just gave it a little thought whether should I buy it and they have went and browsed, we are going to bombard them with lots of benefits of the application and lots of use cases and make them buy at any cost. So these are one use case of e-commerce industry application, and that is what going to be as better customer, that is what going to be called as better customer experience, content personalization, chatbots for customer support. So there are multiple thousands and lakhs of users online at a given point of time. But will it be feasible for any company to have that much amount of human resource to sit and reply back? Definitely it is a daunting task. So that's why chatbots are built to reply automatically to customers. And dynamic pricing. Yes. So the price what I see in my login window and another person sees in their login window or you see in your login window is not same. Because based on the interest of each and every user, the pricing of the product are going to be changed so that the companies get better profit out of it. So these are examples of e-commerce industry and how machine learning is actually driving the decision-making process. So the other going to the other industry of telecom, how telecom industry is getting benefited. It is getting benefited in the form of traffic shaping. Like there is going to be again millions of users online, and every mobile tower has to route to the correct network location. So this task of predicting the number of users online, how much traffic is going to increase, switching on and off towers, congestion control, the amount of data that is being transmitted is going to be huge in quantity, and how data is going to be compressed efficiently in this high data transmission environment. So all these things requires machine learning to bring about efficiency. The next industry, automotive. So autonomous car, widely popular because of Google car and Tesla for their autonomously driving a car. Even we did see an example in reinforcement learning, how to drive a car automatically from position A to position B. All these things requires machine learning, AI, and reinforcement learning technologies. It has a lot of ML and AI concepts as well, like predicting obstacles. Is there an obstacle in front of me, in front of the car what I drive, the autonomous car? Reading the signboards, identifying the speed of the oncoming vehicles, the direction which I should navigate to. Should I turn left or should I turn right or should I apply the brakes or accelerator? All these decisions are being made by machine learning applications. The next industry is finance. In finance, how decisions are being driven, how machine learning applications are identifying and contributing. Few things where they are contributing is fraud detection, customer attrition, which customer is going to exit out of the system, loan defaulters who are not going to pay the loans, credit scoring, how better he can pay the loans, money laundering prediction, portfolio management, risk management for insurance, fraud management for insurance, providing customer support like chatbot for finance domain. All these things are again examples and many more things in other domains. So these are examples and examples after examples we have been seeing here. But what else we can do? So is there examples enough to learn? No. Problems are always there. But how to overcome these problems? You need to be innovative. So I would like to give some examples of innovations that has come up in this pandemic. The first one, COVID-19. This particular virus is very much unique, and that is why it is called as novel virus. And there are lots of research going on ongoingly for a couple of months, but still the results are yet to be beneficial. So the first thing is diagnosis of this particular infection. How to diagnose and how to predict the right medicine. So there have been a lot of startups which have come up with number of solutions. The first solution what I want to highlight is people x-rays. The chest x-rays are taken to identify COVID infection. X-rays have a different pattern. X-rays show different pattern. So every X-ray is unique. So there is a company called as Q.ai who make use of X-rays to identify if particular photocopy of X-ray is going to be of an infected person. So they have already developed it for tuberculosis prediction. With that particular technology, they are pretty much strong and confident their technology can identify corona infection as well or the COVID-19 infection as well. The next one, there is a need for monitoring social distancing in prisons. Of course, social distancing needs to be monitored every location, but this particular startup called Statue Technologies, which is based in Gurugram, they wanted to monitor inside prison. There was a use case presented to them from the local police department. They wanted to monitor their prison and see who is getting infected 24/7, who is showing abnormalities 24/7. So they decided with the help of machine learning technologies by capturing patient images using IR cameras, they were able to predict whose temperature is increasing abnormally, and they were able to come up with anomaly detection and isolate people with infections. Though this is not specifically with COVID-19, they were able to differentiate people with infection. That itself is a success here. The next thing is AI robots are put to use in hospitals because even for doctors and nurses, social distancing are so much mandatory, they need to keep it with patients. So what they did is a company has come up with a solution to provide autonomous robot where it can deliver food and medicines in hospital so that the social distancing is maintained as well as the patients are served with right approach. So it is serving medicines, food and taking care of the patients from a distance. So there is another solution again. Sounds of cough to determine tuberculosis. Yes, you heard it right. When an individual coughs, it is going to have a different sound pattern. So this particular company called as Timber, their product is called as Timber, and they have come up with a solution of recording a cough sound and predicting whether this sound belongs to a tuberculosis patient or not. And they are confident again, this particular tuberculosis prediction can be put to use for COVID-19 infection as well, because this is also a lung infection basically, and hence the sounds can be made use of to predict COVID-19 infection. So next use case, clearing doubts to assessing risk management. Like so far we have been seeing examples for diagnosis and prediction. There is also an example for helping people and bringing awareness. So the government of India's chatbot CareMe, there is a company called as CareMe who has developed a chatbot for TN government. This particular chatbot is clearing doubts and assessing the risk for individuals. So whatever questions you have, we can approach this chatbot and ask and get it clarified. So this is primarily because of machine learning technologies like called as natural language processing. The next thing is identification to delivery of foods and services. Yes, obviously. So we have seen examples from diagnosis, identification of infection, serving and clarifying doubts, and also delivering foods and services. So we covered a wide spectrum of use cases and which are standing testimony of innovation in times of pandemic. So having taken you through this such long presentation, I would like to bring to you what are the languages and libraries that is most important, what you have to learn, and what this technology is actually implemented with. So pay a little longer attention and focus on, we are nearing the most important and crucial part of the webinar. So this particular languages are supporting machine learning. So I would like to classify or categorize the languages used in machine learning into three different categories called as low level implementation, mid level and high level. The low level implementation are used by the core libraries called as C++ is the programming language with which low level implementation are maintained and managed. And on top of low level implementation comes the mid level implementation, which is made using programming languages called as Python, Java, and C++. To mention a few Python libraries, TensorFlow, PyTorch, and Piano are the libraries which is developed already and people are using throughout the world to develop their machine learning applications. And high level applications or user level implementations, which is made using Python and R. So this is where most of you will be spending time to learn the art of machine learning. And yes, right, this is the area, you heard it right, this is the area where you will have to focus on in learning the machine learning, because there are enormous amount of libraries in different languages. So I have captured here few libraries in Java and Python. Java has libraries like Deep Learning 4j, Mallet, Veka are few to mention, and Python libraries Keras, Scikit-learn, NumPy, Pandas. So these are the libraries which are pretty much easy to use, learn, use, and develop applications in a short span of time. And if you have the right approach and right guidance, definitely you will be able to solve problems and innovate as well. So let's wait a little bit and understand what are the other options and features you have with you. So first thing, few suggestions to you: make use of Python as the programming language. The primary reasons being, these are the few things I have captured here. This is the interpreted language. It is interactive, cross-platform, object-oriented, memory management. You can develop web applications. There is huge support for numeric computing. So I'm not going into detail of each and every keyword. These are generic features of Python programming language, which is quite same for machine learning as well, which is needed there for implementation. So it is power packed and feature rich. That is in short why I recommend Python for learning machine learning. And the second thing is, what are the online platforms you can make use of to learn? You no need to have a powerful computer, a desktop, or a laptop. You can make use of this online learning and online programming and coding environments. There are coding environments like Google Colab and Kaggle. These two environments are more than sufficient to get you started. Once you get started, then you can go on to explore how these two things are, what are the pros and cons of these two environments. But for beginning, these two are very much good to go and you can stick to it. So make a note of these environments and explore and read further. And next comes the key part. Once you make up your mind to delve deeper into the task of machine learning, the art of machine learning, and making use of these platforms, what can keep you motivated and go further in your learning and in your career is by participating and competing against yourself. Yes, participating I mean is participate in hackathons and competitions. There are multiple competitions and hackathon organizing platforms like Kaggle. The same platform what I mentioned before hosts innovative competitions throughout the year. So do visit kaggle.com where you will be able to find hundreds and hundreds of competitions that is being organized by multiple national MNCs, multinational corporations, and they also provide huge lump sum of cash prizes and also career opportunities for winning their competitions. So do look and check into the Kaggle website. And there is one more such website called as innocentive.com. You can visit innocentive.com and provide creative thoughts, give a run for your creative thoughts and come up with machine learning solutions for the problems what those companies have. And more importantly, do visit the government websites. There is MEITY startup hub.in and mic.gov.in. These are Ministry of Human Resource and Department of India, and as well as the Ministry of Industries where they support startup. These two websites also host innovative solutions, host solutions or problems with the industry, and you can come up with innovative solutions using machine learning. And there is also companies which are interested in investing in your idea so that you become a full-fledged startup company as well. So do visit these platforms. Again, that's what I want to stress to you all. And above all, the final winning strategies for you is to, above all these knowledge, Do put in consistent practice, have a good attitude throughout all the time, and develop your interpersonal skills, develop good interpersonal skills. These three things are going to be your winning strategies. So once you have all these three things set right, definitely you are going to be on the winning path. And finally, I'm also there to provide mentoring support if you decide to learn further and get mentored for a brief amount of time, teaching you each and everything and handhold and walk you through all the concepts of machine learning. I am there to support you as well. You can reach out to me through the survey form that will be presented to you at the end of this webinar. And for all the future, for all the full power packed feature full training, there will be accompanied as well. So do give feedback. We have finally come to the end of this webinar. So take a couple of minutes to give feedback and your opinions on this particular webinar. Thank you so much for watching. I take pleasure in hosting you all through this webinar, and all the best for your career, and stay home, stay safe in this times of pandemic. Thank you and bye-bye.